Greetings and salutations, loyal viewers of this channel. My name is Sean, and today we got to talk about this situation that is happening more and more in the state of New York, where a fake priest, a priest impersonator, is going around into churches saying some words that seem convincing to some people for some reason, and he is committing robberies at these houses of worship. It's an absolutely disgusting crime. I want to talk about it because the guy's on the loose. We got a clear picture of his face, so that way, if anybody spots this, I know I have religious people out there in my audience, or sees this person, he could eventually get caught. But before we get into that, I want to thank everybody who signed up over at actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay.
And remind you that on April 27th, 2024, I will be in Austin, Texas at Minds Fest at the Vulcan Gas Company. Link in the top of the description for tickets.
He may call himself one, but according to the Brooklyn Archdiocese, he's no priest.
That's right. Police say he impersonated a man of the cloth to get into a Queens church before managing to steal $900 in cash.
Now, typically on this channel, when I highlight crimes, I like to highlight crimes that actually have broader policy implications, something that was changed in terms of law that can be fixed, because I'm hopeful that if people are aware of these issues, that they can push their politicians in order to make the necessary changes so that we can see better results and prevent crimes like this from occurring. And now, in this particular video, I find this story to be ridiculous and absurd. I find this crime to be disgusting, so I am covering it just to cover it. There's no, bail reform change or anything like that that would presumably fix this. I just find it amazing that this guy was able to impersonate a priest from Rome and rob a church, and he's done it before successfully, despite the fact that we can see clear images of his face.
Police are looking for this man in a blue suit and black shoes who they say is a priest impersonator.
So look, I'm not very religious. I just want to put that out there for you guys in the audience. I'm not very knowledgeable about the inner workings of the Catholic Church, but the thing is, I tend to believe that priests tend to wear black, and they have the little white thing right there, and this guy came up in a blue suit, and he was able to convince people that he was a priest, and they let him into private places where the public is not supposed to go, and that's where he was able to steal money. On top of that, and I'm not trying to say anything racialist or anything like that, I want to make that perfectly clear, the guy looks Middle Eastern, and I know some of you are going to say, Sean, there are plenty of Middle Eastern Christians and all that, but sure, we all get that, but the thing is, this guy says he's from Rome, he's a priest from Rome, but he looks like he's Turkish or Egyptian. That wasn't a red flag. I know we're supposed to be post-racial, but that wasn't something that people were like, that sounds suspicious. That's a little bit curious. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Police are looking for this man in a blue suit and black shoes who they say is a priest impersonator.
He needs help. He's a wacko. He's a real wacko.
According to authorities, last Sunday, the suspect walked into the American Martyrs Roman Catholic Church on Bell Boulevard in Hollis Hills, Queens. He approached the Monsignor, who was getting ready for his 12:30 Mass, and said he was a visiting priest from Rome.
Now, I appreciate the priest saying that the guy's a wacko, he's a whack job, and all that, because, yeah, that is true. This is a very weird and unusual thing to do. I wouldn't have thought that there would be a ton of money in a church that you could just steal, but apparently he's done this multiple times. He's successfully conned his way in there, even though, again, his origin country of Rome, in Italy, and what he looked like, not the same, in just my opinion. I'm just saying, I doesn't look Italian to me.
Father Peter Rader was in the rectory at the time.
He said to Monsignor, I would like to celebrate, but all my stuff is in the rectory. I spent the night there.
The Monsignor let him into the rectory through the back door. The crook then walked up to Father Rader's bedroom and stole $900 from his dresser.
Now look, I'm not trying to victim blame. I'm not trying to attack the people who actually let this person in or anything of the sort. I find this crime to be incredibly disgusting. I hope that this guy faces serious consequences for it, because in a way, he took advantage of the better angels of the nature of the people at this church, and I find that to be absolutely disgusting. However, I will point out that if this guy guy wasn't posing as a priest, if this was a younger person posing as a choir boy, there would be no way that he would be able to be let in through the back door of the rectory completely unmolested. Somebody would have taken issue if it were a younger individual who was posing as a choir boy. I'm just saying, it seems like they took a lot on faith in this particular case, and that faith was clearly and obviously not warranted.
The crook then walked up to Father Rader's bedroom and stole $900 from his dresser.
He had free reign in the rectory about 15 minutes.
And not only did he rob from the church, but he specifically robbed the priest that we're seeing, who obviously has some issues with his health. As you can see, he's been trached, and that is incredibly sad, and I take great issue with that. That being said, I do find it a little bit weird that this guy is also the son of Fonnie Willis's father, who was told to keep all his money in cash in his bedroom, but that is neither here nor there, or as the professionals like to say, that is neither nya nor nya. But regardless, it's an absolutely terrible story. And by the way, other people were more suspicious than this particular church in Queens, New York.
The crook then walked up to Father Rader's bedroom and stole $900 from his dresser.
He had free reign in the rectory about 15 minutes.
When the father realized what was going on, he confronted the suspect.
I asked him if he had a letter of suitability. That's needed when you're traveling, so we know you're in good standings with your diocese. He said, "Oh, it's in my car, I'll go get it." And that was it.
The NYPD says he fled the scene in a dark-colored sedan, but the father says this isn't the first time this man walks into a church acting as one of them.
Listen. I know that faith is a part of the process and all that. So he asks him for his official letter, his documentation and all that, and the guy looks him dead in the face and says, "Oh, don't worry about it. I got it in my car." And yes, I'm giving him a New York Italian accent because he said he was from Rome, and I'm assuming that's the accent that he presented with in this particular situation. But if you suspect somebody of being a fraud and you know that they went into your personal area where they were not supposed to be, the idea that you would let that person go out to their car and not expect them to take off, again, not blaming the victim or anything like that, but I don't think it was the most savvy move in that situation, if I'm being perfectly honest.
But the father says this isn't the first time this man walks into a church acting as one of them.
He tried to do the same thing in Brooklyn, St. Thomas Aquinas, and Flatbush Avenue. And the sisters of Amityville, Dominican sisters, they saw the picture, say, "That's the guy that tried to break into our place."
So the priest tells the local news that this is not the first time that this individual in particular has broken into a church or lied his way into a church and stolen money. In fact, there are multiple instances across the borough of New York where this particular guy or somebody described to be this particular guy, because we don't have surveillance video in all of them, has done the same successfully. However, in an unsuccessful attempt, notice what he said about the nuns that were able to detect his lies in order to stop him.
He tried to do the same thing in Brooklyn, St. Thomas Aquinas, and Flatbush Avenue. And the sisters of Amityville, Dominican sisters, they saw the picture, say, "That's the guy that tried to break into our place."
Yeah, that's right. In that particular situation, those nuns were Dominican nuns, and that was a church in Brooklyn. Now, I'm not trying to say anything disparaging about anybody. In fact, I'm just going to go out of my way to praise those Dominican ladies, because they appear to be way more suspicious than the people at this particular church, and that led to that incident being an attempted break-in, an attempted robbery, rather than a successful one, just because, when you're in Brooklyn and you're a Dominican lady, you might have given yourself over to the faith, but you still retain some of that Brooklyn Dominican lady energy, and that's why they were able to detect that this guy was a fraud much faster than in this particular church.
Police could not confirm if the man in those attempted robberies is the same suspect in Sunday's burglary. They say they are not ruling anything out at this time.
Now, the NYPD does not confirm that's the same person, but considering the people at the church say that's the same guy, I'm just saying that that's a formality. Now, they did release a statement from the Brooklyn Diocese that I want to play for you.
In a statement, the Diocese of Brooklyn says, "This man who is preying on churches..."
And I just want to pause right there to say, preying on the church, pun intended. Who says Catholics got no sense of humor?
"This man who is preying on churches must be apprehended before someone is harmed and more stolen. We have been working with the NYPD and will be in contact with the FBI regarding this." If you know anything about this suspect, you're asked to call police at 1-800-577-TIPS. A cash reward is being offered.
But yeah, an absolutely disgusting crime. If you're a Catholic in and around the New York area, watch out for this person. I've also heard some reports of him attempting or succeeding in doing this in other states. In fact, before any of the reports of him being in the Northeast, we actually got reports of him hitting different Catholic churches all over the state of Texas. We're talking Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and a bunch of other stops. So there is a good chance that if you're in a Catholic church, this guy is going to come a knocking for you no matter where you are in the country, because it's definitely not limited to just the Northeast. Apparently, this guy is smooth enough to say the right words off the bat to at least get through the first layer of suspicion, the first layer of security, and there happens to be a cash reward for this individual if you call that tips hotline. And by the way, we talked about on this channel how people will kind of cheat you out of that reward if you call 911. So remember, if you're interested in that reward and you know who this person is, call that number. The real reason I'm doing this story, all joking aside, even though I definitely joked a little bit too much throughout the course of it, is because it's a heinous crime. These are good, decent people, religious folk. They were clearly taken advantage of in multiple different instances, and I hope they catch this guy. But hey, those are just my thoughts. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like this video, then show them by leaving a like. Subscribe for more content. Follow me on my social media. Support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about the fake priest robber. Till next time.